had some interesting grain facilities I'm working on. This is one I just started, and there's 3 existing bins, and we're adding to it, figuring out how to put a dryer in, storage in the future, a shop. I haven't done a lot of building design. Normally, if I'm designing a building, it is for mixing feed. But this week, I drew my first farm shop. So that's very interesting to me. Getting into some different things. I worked on this project. It just got it started. I was working on this project. This is kind of preliminary work, as we're still looking at different site layouts, whether we want to go with a lot of small bins, there are a lot of existing bins, and how to build around them bins, or if we start removing little bins and putting big bins in, what route we go with there. So normally when I start out with giving a couple ideas on what design to go with, and like what's going to work best. This fella does a lot of small grains, so this is probably not the best route. This is headed more in the direction of a 2-crop grain system. This facility runs 4 or 5 different kinds of grains, so probably going to be along this line right here. But I like to give options, and this is just preliminary. I don't even have an elevator drawn in here yet, or the blower system drawn in. And here we figured out where we're going to set the shop now, and so that's decided. So now we're going to start putting some details into the grain system. One of the details we need to get figured out right now is this scales, where we're going to set this scales, if we're going to put it here in the driveway, which is where I like to have it. That way the scales don't hold up anything else. Every load can weigh in, trucks can weigh empty going out, no driving out around. Problem is this driveway slopes downhill some, so we need to figure out if we can do this, eliminate the slope here, have more of a drop here, a longer slope here, to figure out how we're going to do that. We might not be able to put the scales there, and then in this facility we got to kind of figure out where we're going to put the scales, which we may have to go over the dump pit. And yes, there will be a loadout bin drawn over this dump pit here also. That's not finished yet, so there will be a loadout bin drawn in there. There you'll be able to see the dump pit easier. So this is kind of we're just getting the bugs worked out of how the system's gonna lay out. This is really a beautiful system we got going here, and like you see, there's lots of details. There's no spouts on yet. Not all the conveyors are done. Elevator isn't connected to the dryer for unloading dry corn yet, so we don't have that all figured out yet. But we're getting there. We have see, I make the roof transparent, that way we can see through, see the truck setting in the shop, and the loft up here, the deck, and then there could be an office inside there underneath the bottom of the deck there, which I didn't draw in. That we'll get into those details a little later. And just doing the preliminary layout at this point. So a couple details we need to figure out. And then here we're going through this one here with 3 different designs, figuring out which direction we're going, and like are we let me see here. Are we going to move the dryer up here to this end of this row of hopper bins, or are we going to and go with this layout, but move that bin and put the dryer up here? Or are we going to add a big wet bin here to feed the dryer? Got some details to work out on those two systems. And most of you people have seen how I do drawings like this, and they're pretty drawings. Like this right here, it's a pretty drawing. It looks nice, but what value is this to build? What value is this? Is this view valuable? I want to show you a facility that I have shared some screenshots, but it's my big project that I'm working at right now. I'm going to show you a little piece of it, and that is right here. Right here, I have a facility. Now this facility is getting quoted, and so I took the facility out of the satellite view, and I'm pulling measurements and speccing out every piece of equipment in the facility. And with speccing out every piece of equipment in the facility, I make some changes. One of the things I do is I drop it to 2D, and I start pulling measurements for the distance of this reclaim drag, distance peak to peak on the bins, distance sender support tower to sender a bin, distance from dump pit to sender of support tower, all the different measurements, whatever measurements the builder wants to build the system. I take that 3D system, drop it to 2D, and I put whatever measurements are needed. 91 foot to the bottom of the distributor. 42 foot 10 inches from the support tower to the center of the first bin. 80 foot 2.5 inches peak to peak. That's actually exactly 80 foot if you've seen on that last picture, but when I dropped my number here, I wasn't exactly on. So 2 inches off, which is, if you can order your conveyor and drag and bridge within 2 inches of what it needs to be, that's really good. Distance from the edge of the bin to the center of the dryer, the height of the height of the bottom of this catwalk, the height of the bottom of the distributor. I can pull all the measurements, and any of these drawings I can drop to a 2D and pull all the measurements needed. If somebody wants a specific measurement, I can pull that specific measurement. Someone says, okay, this bin right here, I got 2 foot of concrete on it. I can pull any measurement. I got figured a 2 foot concrete pad on there. Shows 2 foot there. I can go to the bottom of that bin, say from the dirt to the peak, we are 60 foot 11 inches. And any measurement I can pull for building. So not only is this type of drawing the way I draw very nice to see how the system is going to look when it's done, I also can pull all the measurements that way. When you decide what you want, I can give a build sheet to the dealer and say these are the parts that are needed to build the facility. So it's really nice with this software to be able to build a system to know what it's going to look like, and be able to, with the click of a button, drop it to 2D, print off DWG files or PDF files and what it's going to look like. This right here, I can switch it and I can print this off as a PDF, or we go over here, I can do the top 2D and print that off in a PDF and I can break that down to concrete, to every little component. So that's always fun. And so these are a couple of the projects I was working on this week, And hopefully this fall I'll be able to show a few facilities that I designed. Normally when I design systems, half the systems I don't get to when they're complete, and half the systems that I do get to, I just go to start the dryer and I don't really go through everything. But since I'm showing more of these drawings on my social media, I want to be able to show more of them. The ones that I do automate, I do supply automation also. And this facility here, I'll be supplying automation for. And one other facility I showed earlier, there's a percentage of the systems I do that I supply the automation for. And maybe I'll be able to put the drone in the air this fall at startup time and show some of these facilities and be able to tag it back to these videos of the design work and see how close it looks in real life to what my design looked like. That's going to be really interesting. So that was the highlights of my week this week, and I think I completed 3 projects this week and started about 3 more. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer, and I look forward to making things easier for builders, making things easier for uh, farmers to decide how they want their system built with a plan long term. And yeah, it's really interesting working from facilities that are this stature to working on some facilities with large contractors on multi-million-dollar projects. So thanks for watching.